Welcome to the Tipsy Guest Podcast. I am your host, Marco Buenrostro, and every week I'm here with the top industry experts, amazing clients, and all my vendor BFFs to bring you the best tips, advice, and juicy behind-the-scenes stories to make wedding and event planning a breeze. So grab your favorite drink and let's get this party started! Hey guys, welcome back to the Tipsy Guest. I am Marco, your host. And today, we're going to be jumping into the most common misconceptions and oh my gosh, wish we would have known moments, couples face during the planning process. And for that, I have an expert. I have Katherine Lopez, owner and creative director of Sweet August Events. Hello.
Hi, Marco. How are you?
I am great. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me.
I am so excited that you're here. I know I say this all the time, but I've been trying to get you to come and do an episode with me for the longest time. Yeah. So thank you for taking time out of your day. I know you're always so busy. So thank you for stopping by.
Yeah, thank you so much. I know, and I'm laughing because that introduction, the expert. I honestly do not think I'm an expert.
Girl, 15 years of experience. You are an expert.
Yeah, well, it's, I learn something new every day. Trust me.
It's so crazy, right? I mean, the industry changes on a daily basis. So you got to keep up with the times. I mean, whatever we were doing 15 years ago, or at least, you've been in business for 15 years, whatever you were doing 15 years ago might be completely out of style now. So you just got to keep going and changing and evolving with times.
And you're evolving with the brides, but then you're also evolving your business, you know? And I think that's been one thing I've learned a lot is like, oh my gosh, I have to be present on social media. And I'm like, just things. So
that's a whole full-time job, just being present on social media.
Yeah, for sure.
It's crazy. But okay, So Katherine, let's start by you telling our listeners who you are, what you do. Of course, I already told them how long you've been in business, but we want to learn about your company. Tell us everything.
Yeah, for sure. So I am the owner and creative director at Sweet August Events, and I started our company in 2011. We are a small company. We've got, some other planners within our company, but we specialize in weddings. We can do a little bit of everything. We can do deb parties. We can do corporate. We can do birthday parties. We can do a little bit of everything, but our bread and butter is weddings. A lot of people think that we are heavily into design, but honestly, the core of our business is relational, and it's definitely planning and just being a very organized and just very relational with our clients. But we love designing as well. So we are full designing as well. Different packages. But yeah, we've been doing it for a long time. We love it, constantly evolving, and definitely, changing every single day with every single bride. But yeah, that's who Sweet August is.
I love it. And I mean, I've been working with you guys I've been in business for 10 years. So I feel like I've been doing weddings with you guys for 10 years now. Yeah, 10 years.
Sure.
I'm trying to remember the first wedding that we did with you all, but I can't. It's been such a long time. I can't, but I know that we always, of course, you guys always send us, some beautiful couples, and we always end up working with you all. And I mean, every time we get to work with you all as a company, it's a pleasure to work with you all. I mean, you guys, I feel like we've created that relationship to where like we don't really have to be on top of each other because we already know how we work.
Yeah.
And it's so easy, because you already know what to expect from us. I already know what to expect from you guys. So I think when you build that relationship with vendors, it's so great because you don't have to be on top of you guys deal with so many vendors for wedding day. So when you have that relationship with most of your vendors, it makes it so easy.
Yeah. Actually, can I just tell you something really fast?
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. We were doing an event and it was a Queen and Princess luncheon, and you were doing something for us. And it was just funny. You were supposed to be setting up and doing something, and like I was doing something else and you were doing this. And I just love the fact that I came back and it was all set up.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I had to micromanage. It was all set up. And then when it was time for the attendant to be there, I went and he was there. And I was just like, oh, okay. I just never have to worry. And I appreciate that. So,
Thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. We love to hear good things like that. I mean, Yeah, there's so many different vendors that work in so many different ways. But for example, us with the photo with business, we like to take care of all the setups early in the day. I know some companies prefer to go like right before they start the actual photo booth. And to me, I think that's just because most of the time we start right after dinner. So I don't want to be setting up when guests are already there. When the party's already happening, like it just looks a little bit messy. So yeah, doing the setups early in the day is definitely great. And then of course, we just show up, 30, 25 minutes before start time because we already tested everything earlier in the day.
Yep.
So yeah. So thank you for noticing that.
Of course.
All right, Katherine. So let's talk about, the most common misconceptions that couples, sometimes they don't even know what they don't know.
Right.
So for example, the first little topic here that we're going to have, it's very common that couples go, to Pinterest and they start creating a mood board, and a lot of the times, they go crazy creating these mood boards. What would you say, it's, I guess, the good and the bad about creating a mood board? Because, of course, at some point, you also have to take into consideration your budget. Sometimes you might be saving all these like Kardashian style wedding things, but then your budget is not the same. So how can somebody create a realistic mood board on Pinterest or any other website that you think would be, realistic?
Yeah. So we always say that Pinterest should be like kind of like your search engine, like your Google, right? That's really what it's for. So it's not necessarily like what I'm saying is, search on Pinterest. That doesn't mean actually pin everything you find. Just because let's say you put in like, I'm going to say something weird, like orange and teal wedding, just because everything that comes up orange and teal that you need to pin that and put it on your board. No, it's your search engine. So when you put orange and teal in, like literally go through all the pages and pin what speaks to you, right? I think what happens with people is they just pin what they like.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we all like, I like Ferraris. I like Lamborghinis, right? But is that realistic? You know what I mean? So we try to tell our clients is we do want you to pin heavy at first, like pin a lot. And then we're going to ask you in a week or two, go back and like kind of break that down. Actually take your Pinterest board and, break it down, or at least in the notes, kind of type in like what you do see. But it really should be used as a search engine. And then you got to take the time. Like, just like I said, don't absolutely pin everything that you like. Pin what speaks to you, pin what you think is realistic. I think we use that word a lot with our clients is like, what's realistic to you? Like, is having chandeliers like everywhere realistic? Probably not. You don't even probably know the mechanics of hanging a chandelier. And so we kind of talk through that way before they even start with the Pinterest board.
Okay. Have you, I'm assuming this is a very common thing, but I guess is the first question when you have a consultation with a couple, is one of the first questions about budget?
It is. We are kind of budget freaks because my thing is if we don't have a ceiling, we don't know what we're working with. Yeah. So give us the ceiling. Let us know. Our job is to, obviously be below the ceiling. But if we have a ceiling, then we know that when you pin something, we can say to you, hey, that's not realistic. It's not in the budget. And I always say, like, we hate to use the word, like, you need to find something cheaper. Yeah. You'll hear me, like, correct myself. I'm about to say cheaper, but then I say, no, something a little more economical.
Okay.
And I think that makes bride feel better because when you do kind of repeat the word budget, you can see brides actually, I know it's important to talk about, but you can actually see their body language kind of go in because they feel bad. And I'm like, wait a second, everyone has a budget.
Yeah.
No matter how much money you're spending, absolutely everyone has a budget.
Yeah. And I feel like right now, that we're talking about Pinterest, I just recently learned how to use Pinterest. Uh-huh. I know Pinterest has been a thing for a very long time, but, I never really cared to use it. But like you said, it is a search engine. Like now it's like brides, grooms, like couples. That's what they use because that's where they get their inspiration.
Absolutely.
And it's actually pretty fun.
It is fun.
It's fun to like, I just like, now I travel a lot. So now I go to Pinterest and I'm like, okay, and normally I just go in there and find actual full itineraries. It's like, it is so crazy. And it has photos and links and everything. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, we go to New York a lot, and we've done that before too. We will type in like cute coffee shops in New York, and then this list comes up, and and a lot of times it's like cute, but maybe not great coffee.
And it's free. It's a free resource. So absolutely. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. And speaking of, budgets and free and economical, like you said. So what are some of the hidden costs that nobody talks about? Every vendor has their own, we're pretty transparent about what we charge and what's included. But what are some of the hidden costs that you've noticed out there that couples don't really know about?
Yeah. So I think a lot of times they get very surprised by damage waivers, right? So that, if you don't know what that means, is like you can get a rental quote, and then the rental quote will send back, and then there is a cost for damage waiver. And everybody does it differently. It can be a set cost, it can be a percentage, it can be whatever. And that damage waiver, what it means is like, let's say, when the wedding's over and there's like 10 broken glasses, that damage waiver is to cover those broken glasses. Those are hidden costs that aren't sometimes factored into a bride's mind. Okay. So when she gets that, well, I thought it cost this much, and explain it to me, and you get down to the very bottom and you're like, well, you got to break out those things. I always call those like those hidden costs. We try to tell our clients, like, look, yes, we are looking at, this glass costs $2.50, but not really. Because there's going to be a setup fee, there's going to be a damage fee, so you got to factor all of that in. But again, before we go get bids, we try to tell our clients about those things. Other hidden costs, I would say, would be, just like setup stuff. Like you just don't imagine that. And a lot of brides are like, well, I don't understand. I'll just do it myself. Right. And I'm sure that's going to be a question coming up. And it's
that was my next one.
I know. It's like, okay, well, yeah, do it yourself. Okay. That means you're going to have Uncle so-and-so or your dad on a ladder, 5 hours before your wedding, hanging a light. And, sometimes we can't like honestly beat the bride. She's just like, that's what's happening. And we're just like, okay. And then we have to kind of just be there to manage that situation. I'll be honest. Like there are times you can't tell a client no, you know what I mean? I'm not very good at that. I am a people pleaser. And we've been in those situations and we've had to kind of swoop in and kind of obviously then I'm on the ladder. Then I'm trying to get not ideal, right? Not ideal. So we say that, before we go in and we get bids, we try to like prepare our clients to know like, hey, there's going to be damage waivers. There's going to be setup fees. There's going to be late night fees, and which is a hard one to explain. I love all of our vendors, but that's a hard one to explain. Yeah. We're weekend driven and everyone's like, what do you mean that's after hours? And I'm like, oh, that means like, because people are up at 12 a.m. going and picking up
stuff.
Yeah. And I think that they're, they have a hard time comprehending, but if you start early and start training them to understand, like these people are for you, these people are here to make your dreams come true. And that does cost money. Like everything else. You don't walk into the store and just grab something off the counter because you like it, you want it and whatever. No, you have to pay for it, and I think that's a hard concept. But if you set that tone and like build it into your budget, we start with a budget. Absolutely.
I love that. Yeah. And then, a good thing right now that you mentioned, the whole do it yourself, because yes, it all goes back to that. Most of the time you're going to have those couples that it's like, well, no, we can take care of that. Or so-and-so can take care of that. I'm part of like a lot of this like Facebook groups, with vendors, with couples and, just, people that are looking for information and things like that. And a lot of the times, I see those posts that they're like, oh, we're looking to do it ourselves. What do you think about this? And what do you think about that? And then, of course, everybody has an opinion. Some opinions are good. Some opinions are bad. And then that's where everybody starts arguing.
Yeah, for sure.
But I feel like sometimes if you go the DIY route, you end up spending more money because it never goes the way you want it.
Yeah.
And then you already spent the money to do it yourself, but then you end up hiring somebody last minute. And not only are you going to spend now on them, but they might be more expensive now because the wedding is just around the corner.
Yeah. And what I find too, it's not even just the money, it's the time.
Yeah.
It's the time that you've taken out of your day to figure out, how to do something. And then you've taken the time out of like your dad, your uncle, your sister, whoever you've hired, time out of their day that they could be spending with you. And I think people don't factor that in, that time is just as precious. I mean, I have learned that just in my personal life. Time is just as precious as money. And then they don't see that. You've got to train them to understand those things for sure.
Yeah, I always hear the couples or I always see on the Facebook groups, the whole like, hey, I don't want to hire a DJ. I think I'm just going to have like a playlist. And I'm like, it's not just about having a playlist. Like somebody has to be pushing the button. Somebody like, what if like, of course, if you're going to have a playlist, it's somebody's phone, it's somebody's iPad. What if they start getting like a phone call in the middle of the song or like, like when you're doing your first dance or where you're someone you're coming in, like, that's why, hiring a professional, it's very important because vendors already know, the vendors work with each other. The DJ, I'm sure, has great communication with the planner to make sure that the timeline is perfect. So it's a domino effect. It's not just somebody playing the songs, or it's not somebody just, oh, my cousin's going to take the photos, or, you're going to get photos, but you're not going to get amazing photos. These are photos of your wedding. Like you want to make sure that you get good stuff. But,
yeah, I would agree with you on that. I think most people don't realize that wedding day is nothing but troubleshooting. So when you don't hire professionals who don't have the ability to troubleshoot, it can become a little disastrous.
Yeah, and then this is your night is going to be very stressful because you're just going to be thinking like, okay, is so and so going to take the right photos? Is so and so going to play the right song? So you as a couple, like you should be completely having fun, enjoying the night, enjoying the week off, and because once you get closer to the wedding, like I feel like it's very stressful and like you're just anxious to get it over with. So if you're handling yourself, I feel like it adds way more stress to your wedding.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so guys out there, girls, make sure you hire professionals.
For sure.
Then speaking of professionals, what's your take on booking timelines? How early do you think couples should hire their vendors?
Okay, so we definitely in our company, so I'm giving away a lot of like little tricks of, just how Sweet August like functions. But within our company, we always say definitely book the people that can't double themselves. So the people we feel like that can't double themselves are going to be your photographer and your band or your DJ. If you really, really love those people, they can't multiply themselves. Maybe they have a team and maybe they have those things. Associates, but they can't multiply themselves. So if you fall in love with a certain photographer, that's who you're capturing. So the very first thing that we try to do as far as the timeline goes is you capture your photographer and your entertainment, period. And then once you do that, then we kind of move on to the next steps. And as far as like booking, it's like, okay, we'll get bids. And as soon as you get a bid and you like it and it looks good and it fits the budget, then you deposit. So we always tell, like, especially the parents of the bride, like it's going to feel like you're hemorrhaging some money. And it does feel that way. But in order to secure your people, you have to put down put down money. Sorry. Money is what makes everything real.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. And then, so when it comes to selecting the vendors, do you, I guess when a couple they come to you and they hire you, are you in charge of finding the vendors? Do you just make recommendations? Do you deal with the vendors, the contracts, all of that? How does that work with Sweet August?
These are all intrusive questions, Marco.
Our listeners want to know it all.
No. So yeah, when couples come to us and we have an initial meeting, we kind of figure out like, where is their budget? They don't have to, we don't force them to give us a budget, but we kind of figure out where they're at. We figure out the style, what they're looking for. And then we give them recommendations and we kind of say, hey, go look at these people. Do they pique your interest? Then we give them investment information and then we have them kind of figure out, yeah, I like that. That investment looks good. Then we contact that vendor and say, hey, we would love to see a contract. And then we send the contract over to the client. We never sign contracts on behalf of our clients. They take care of that. It's their business. And then, if we need to negotiate with a vendor, which honestly, San Antonio, we have amazing vendors. I love our market. I've been in it a long time. Relationships matter.
Yeah.
And they matter because they benefit our client. We do this for our client. We do this for our client and then we do this to feed our families. And when we help one another, that's what I'm talking about with the negotiation. The negotiation for us at Sweet August is never to put more money in our pocket. It's to help put more money back into our client's pocket so they can spend it on another vendor or keep it at home. You know what I mean? So
honeymoon money.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
I like that. I love how you, it sounds like you, obviously, we're in this business and it sounds like you care about your clients. Like, it sounds like you're very...
I just got teary-eyed. I do. I do.
It's very important. Of course, we do this for money, because it's our, we gotta, pay our bills and make money.
Yeah.
But I feel like when we are so passionate about what we do, it just makes everything better for you, better for the couples, better for the vendors that are involved. It just, you can feel it, when in this case, when you are passionate about what you do, it's just so, it's so rewarding when we work with someone like that, because it just makes the process so easy and enjoyable.
Yeah. We definitely have kind of like a motto at Sweet August. I mean, we love our clients. We love them to death, and that doesn't mean like we're never like at odds with our clients. I want that to be, I want to be very transparent about that, because it's not like we're going to always have the perfect client. They're not going to always be extremely happy with Sweet August. That's not the way the world works. You're always going to have some conflict. But we do love our clients to death. But I would say the motto at Sweet August is we love our vendors equally. So we treat our vendors with the same respect that we treat our clients. Because if we all have that love for one another, that day is so easy. So, because we never know, like maybe the vendors have like 3 setups that day. Like we just have to be kind to one another. I keep saying that to my family, as kindness is everything. It really is.
I like that. I like that very much. All right. So when, when it comes to a wedding day, how does your day look like? What time do you wake up? When do you start? Or I guess, let me ask you this. Are you guys, as the wedding planners, normally also in charge of the night before?
So that depends. Ours is usually an add-on. So when you hire Sweet August, it's usually just for the day of your wedding. If you want to add on rehearsal dinners, we can add that onto our package as an add-on. We definitely do rehearsals, and that's with your day of, but your wedding day, sorry. But if you want to do like an actual dinner or welcome party, that's an additional add-on. So most of the time it's just rehearsal and then wedding day. But as far as like when my day starts, my husband, if he were here, he will tell you 15 years in and he still gets very angry because he thinks I start my day way too early. So I am like the early bird catches a worm, as you could tell today.
I'm a morning person too.
Yeah. And I like to get up because I'm anxious. I'm excited. Like I feel like wedding day is the most exciting day. And it's the time like you've been putting in all this hard work with your client. So I do like to get there super early. Like I love to if a venue allows us to get there at 8 a.m., I'm going to be there. Even if I have nothing to do, which that means just a coffee. Yeah. And I'm there and just, I'll feel better, And so we will start as early as we possibly can.
I love venues that allow vendors to get there early. Yeah. I'm the same way. If I can get my setups done early in the day, that's amazing, because we normally have, I don't know, sometimes we just have like one wedding a day, but sometimes we have 5, we have 8. I mean, I think the most weddings that I've had in one day, I don't know, 7 maybe. And I mean, just imagine 7 weddings in one day. That means 7 setups around
I do not envy
San Antonio and the Hill Country, because we can have a setup downtown San Antonio, but then we might have one at Kendall Point out in Bernie, and then one at Chandelier out in Green, or the Preserve at Canyon, or within an hour radius, or even farther. So starting early is so good. But of course, every venue has a different time, different time expectations, I guess. And then I know some venues don't allow vendors to go in unless the planner is already on site.
Yeah.
So it's a little complicated sometimes, but so to our venues out there, please allow us early.
I always say like everyone runs their business differently. We all run it so differently. But as far as like when we start our day, we like to just get there as early as possible. And most of the time, I always tell our brides, like, hey, the expectation, I always say, fall in love with your photographer. And I say that a lot because it's like, I'll touch base with you in the morning, but you're probably not going to see me until like you're about to walk down the aisle and we line you up, because I'm going to be managing the reception side and your photographer is going to be managing you. So fall in love with them. They're an extension of me is how I look at it. And you've got to have that, you have to have that magic with them. You have to connect because I expect my photographers in some sort of way just to be able to handle that portion so that I'm not so hands-on and let them connect. I'm worried about reception, and then come after ceremony, then I'm hands-on.
I love that. Thank you so much. Oh my God, Katherine, we are running out of time.
Wow, that was fast.
It was fast. I want you to tell our listeners where they can find you, either on social media, your website, phone number, whatever. How can they get in contact with you? How can they see your work, the weddings that you work, all of the good stuff?
Yeah, for sure. So our Instagram handle is just Sweet August Events, and then our website is sweetaugustevents.com. And then best phone number is 210-269-5641. We always encourage you to go to our website, fill out our form. It's the best way for us to look at your day, really see what you're doing, and then we can kind of distribute to the proper planner. But yeah, that's how you find us. I mean, we're also in Wed Society, and we'll be in Wed Society next year as well.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
But yeah, that's how you find us.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Katherine. Let's take a drink here. We had our little spicy margarita here because, of course, it's a Tipsy Guest. So cheers. Cheers. Thank you so much. And to our listeners out there, make sure that you tune in every Tuesday. You know we're here. You know we have a vendor every single week. And then, of course, if you have any recommendations on any vendors or any topics that you would want us to cover, make sure you send us a DM. You can also text us. All the information is on our website, on our Instagram, TikTok. We're everywhere. So for now, we'll catch you next week. Thanks,
awesome.
Katherine.
Yeah, thanks, Marco.
Thanks for listening to the Tipsy Guest podcast. If you know someone who could benefit from these tips, spread the love and share it with them. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. Next round's on us. Same time, same place. Cheers! This podcast is brought to you by MVP Photo Booth, the #1 photo booth rental company in San Antonio, Austin, and Central Texas.